So I want us to invite us just to start with thinking of someone who we love more than life itself, or it could be more than one person, families, but just call them forth into your awareness. You can close your eyes for a minute and see this person or feel this person or people who you love with all your being. They could be on the other side of the veil or this side of the veil, it doesn't matter. Just feel them in your heart, how much you love them, and knowing that just by holding them in our heart right now, they're present in this room with us. And if you could give them a one-sentence blessing, something very simple, what would that blessing be? So Julian, I was thinking about this earlier, and Julian came straight to my mind, and Jack, and the first blessing that came to my mind is, I bless you in unlimited joy. So a very simple blessing, I bless you in unlimited joy. Something simple, one sentence, simple blessing that you would like to bless this person or people in your heart space. And don't spend a lot of time worrying about the blessing, just whatever that, it's just for this moment, what's that blessing for them? And bless them. And now I want you to open your eyes. And what I'd like you to do is stand up and give your blessing to 3 people in our community and receive their blessing and then come sit down again. So just give your blessing to 3 people in our community, receive their blessing, and then when you're done, you can sit down. Oh, can someone let Debbie in back there? I just snorted. I bless you. Oh, thanks. So when you're complete, you can sit down. Feels good, huh? So we're just staying in that question, is the universe friendly? That's right, Jill said it is in this room. In this book, this beautiful book, The Gentle Art of Blessing, he talks, the author is Pierre Proudhon, although he's Swiss, so he has an accent when he says it, but that's my American way of saying his last name. He talks about the various laws that respond to this practice of blessing. But what I love is that he talks about the ultimate law is of unconditional love. That love is that which is always already, and it is why we are here. It's wonderful, as I was reading that chapter, I was also finishing up my book, finally, of Julian of Norwich. And at the end of the book, she asked, it's been about 15 years, she's had these 16 revelations with Jesus over a period of few days. And then the book, the long text, is for the next 15, 20 years, she's analyzing and thinking about it. What did these mean? And so the final page is what was the meaning of these revelations? And what she receives is the meaning of these revelations was love. Who gave you these revelations? Love. What was the reason for giving you these revelations? Love. Why were these revelations given to you? Love. That everything that we are about is birthed from, through, and as pure, unconditional, unlimited love. That this is the whole essence of who and what every one of us in this room is. So we all may have different Myers-Briggs personalities, astrological charts, enneagram numbers. We all have our different personalities, our human experiences, cultural, ethnic, religious backgrounds. We all are different. But the place where we absolutely all are meet is every one of us is made in the image and likeness of pure, unlimited, unconditional love. And that we have an opportunity to become and remember that essence of who and what we are, no matter what. So that's his first law, the law of unconditional love. I like to say there's no more love in the past or in the future than there is right now in this room. So we start opening up to the reality that this love isn't just a concept, it's a living, palpable, tangible reality here and now. Then he talks about the law of harmony, that the law of harmony has a way of making things work out, pushing us each uniquely in our own unique ways to discover this unconditional love, that everything is conspiring for us to learn and open and awaken to this always already unconditional love. What I love, this morning, it really came to me, the official title for today's talk was Universe Responds, and I was thinking about these laws, but I really was turned on by this question by Einstein, is the universe friendly? So I was in that question, is the universe friendly? Clear that I was going to put it out to all of us. I had not talked to Jill at all. I knew Ami was coming to sing, but I had no idea what he was singing. Before I left this morning, I said, hey, Julian, I want a spiritual song. Can you play My God Is So Good to Me this morning? So he played full volume, My God Is So Good to Me. Unbelievable. And not only that, he didn't know I was asking the question, is this a friendly universe? So let's see, the two songs he's picked so far is My God So Good to Me and Clarity. How awesome is this? The law of harmony, things that we can't even plan are unfolding to reveal to us who and what we really are. It's extraordinary. Another great blessing in this law of harmony is I was reading The Gentle Art of Blessing. I was also in a section of the Bhagavad Gita, as translated by Yogananda. And to give you a context, it's a two-part volume, over 1,000 pages. He talks about everything. And yet, as the law of harmony would work, and it always does, but every time it's amazing to me, this particular section I was reading about absolutely related to the art of blessing and helped me understand it. I love law of harmony. In this particular section, Yogananda is explaining the Hindu idea of three ways of being I'm going to liken to the art of giving a blessing. There's three ways we can give blessings. The three ways we can give anything. The three stages of consciousness, I'll say in our modern human language. The first one is tamasic, which in Hinduism is really low energy, inertia. You don't really do much. We would relate that to sort of a victim state of consciousness. So in terms of giving blessings or giving anything, that's like, I've been told to do it. That's what the law is, or that's what a commandment is, or that's what my parents told me to do, or the minister tells me to do, so I'll do it. But, you just throw the money in the whatever. That's the lowest way of giving. You're doing it out of obligation, out of duty. There's no joy. There's very little energy, almost no energy in it at all. You're only doing it out of obligation. That's the lowest level of giving. It's still giving, so but it's coming from a really low energy. The next level is Rajasic. R-A-J-A-S-I-C. You probably know how to say it. Rajasic? See, I'm so glad you're here. Rajasic. So that's the next stage. And this is the stage where we give, it's for reward. So we can go either punishment or reward. So many people went from a God out in the sky who punishes and rewards us to this law of the universe, cause and effect. That if I think the right things and do the right things, I put it out there, and then I'll get it in return. And there's so much truth to that. We look at our universe, the law of circulation, that there's so much abundance pouring through the world all of the time, and what happens is we block it. We hold on, we attach, or we resist. Our blocks show up in different ways, but as we let go of those blocks and we allow the flow to move through us, and we start giving, we start recognizing that suddenly we've opened the law of circulation and it's coming back to us. That now that clogged artery is open and we've said yes, and we're giving and we get back. So that's a lot of what we practice in our teaching, and it's so exciting. After the sort of, I have to do this, to, wow, I'm so empowered. The more I put out there, the more good I put out there. So taking it to blessings, the more I bless other people, they're going to start blessing me back. I start feeling the joy of the universe by the blessings that I'm getting back from other people. So that inspires me to bless them more because I'm getting more and more blessings back. That's the Rajistic. He's going to help me with that. Sattvic. That's the next one. So the third stage is unconditional blessing. That's when we are no longer giving for a sense of reward. We're no longer giving because we're going to get something from out there. Now, generally what pushes us to that are two things. One, it doesn't work all the time, that we can put stuff out there and we don't always get back what we want. So answering the question, is this a friendly universe from this level, people who generally get more of the blessing than the reward than the punishment are going to say, yes, it's a friendly universe. People who get more of the punishment than the reward are going to say, no, it's not a friendly universe. It's really dependent. The answer to that question is dependent on what's happening, what we're receiving from the external world. And for some people, the law works effortlessly and everything seems to work out. Other people, it's harder. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. I was talking with a friend who's been doing this for a long time, and she said it works until it doesn't. Like, it gets us so far. That's the law of harmony, because everything is pushing us to know unconditional love. That's why we're here. We're not here to get rewards. See, we start getting distracted and think we're only here for rewards, and what unconditional love is saying is, no, you deserve so much more than that. You're thinking too small, and that pushes us to the next level. Or we get the rewards and it's just not filling us. Like, I'm getting things, but I'm still not feeling, I know there's more. This takes us to this sattvic level of giving with no expectation of return. One of my favorite things are some of the stories that Pradavan tells in his book, and even about himself, because it doesn't always go the way I think it's going to go, because I'm so used to the reward aspect of it. So he talks about, he begins the book with telling a story of how he was in the perfect job. He absolutely loved it. It used all his creative abilities. He got paid really well. He loved everything that he did. Loved going to work. But there was a group of people who didn't like him, and through manipulation and control, they got him fired. And he was enraged and furious, and these angry thoughts wouldn't stop. He couldn't get to a place of even close to forgiveness. He was so angry with them. But from that, he had this insight of the power of blessing. And so he talks a lot about practicing blessing. And he's practicing. So he's going on for years practicing, blessing everyone and everything, as we were talking about last week, blessing everyone and everything. And he says, after all these years of blessing, I run into the gentleman who was the person responsible for getting me fired. And I felt such love for him. He said, it wasn't just because I thought I should, or I'm practicing to blessing. He said, it just emanated, this pure love, blessing. I wanted nothing but his love and his happiness, and I was so free, and it felt so good. And that was the end of his story. Because what I was expecting him to say is that guy came back and said, I'm so sorry I ever did that to you. That was wrong. And that never happens. The fulfillment is within him. It is not in the external condition. That's a huge shift. He was full of light. He was full of love. He was full of joy and grace. And it had no bearing on whether that other gentleman was sorry or not sorry, had no bearing on who he was. Do we see that shift? And how much unconditional love is pouring us, pushing us to know our own love by blessing each and every individual with whom we come in contact. He tells another wonderful story. He's in Switzerland, but he's worked with tribes in Africa, refugees. He's had this incredible life. So all his stories, most of his stories aren't American-based, which is refreshing. So I don't remember which country this is in, but he was telling the story of a woman, and she's walking into a store, and there's two gentlemen in front of her. They don't know each other. I'll just say man A and man B. So man A walks in, drops his wallet. She sees man B pick it up, look inside the wallet, likes what he sees, puts it in his pocket, and he goes off. He doesn't realize she's behind him. Her choice in that moment was not to judge the guy who stole the wallet, but to bless him. And she started blessing him and saying, "You are the divine perfection of pure spirit. The child of God is always honest. The child of God is always good. It does what is honest and good all of the time. And that you're filled," and she blesses him in the way that she blesses him. Now, man A comes out of the store realizing he's lost his wallet. He's looking for it. Man B comes up, hands him the wallet, and says, "She told me I had to give it back to you." And walks away. But she had never said a word out loud. And the power of that story is to recognize that so much we might say the right words out there, but inside we're saying a whole different story. That there's judgment coming through, that's pouring through. And what he's pointing to is that people actually can feel what we're thinking. They may not know that they're feeling it, but they might just sort of back away or not be around, want to be around, because they can feel the energy that's pouring through you. When we start blessing, people feel that. They don't know why. They just feel this general sense that you actually love them, that you care about them, that you're not holding them at a distance or judging them. So it really looks, we hear this over and over, that our thoughts are things, but to remember that we can hear each other vibrationally. And we don't sometimes know why we may not want to be. Now, sometimes we just like to be around people with a similar interest. There's no emotional in that. There's no emotional reaction in that. I just have my preferences of things that I like to do. But it's the emotional reaction, I don't want to be around someone, or I want to be around somebody. And it's usually because what's happening inside. Blessing everyone and everything. He talks about, I love his humility. He's been practicing blessing everyone and everything all of the time, no matter what, for 22 years. And he says, I'm just beginning. I have so far to go. And he talks about these moments. He said, I have these where no judgment. And he said, they're the most blissful, joyous experiences when literally my mind stops judging. And it's such a freedom and so much love. It's all I want now. And so I continue to practice this art of blessing everyone and everything all of the time, so that I can finally, one day, that judging mind will dissolve into the nothingness from which it came. Is the universe friendly? Now, this is all well and good, but what happens when the external world is really bad? We know we didn't create that. He tells another story of an American journalist who's joining the other Americans who are going into the concentration camps, Americans, after the end of World War II. And one of the prisoners speaks multiple languages, so they hire him to translate, because there's many different ethnic groups in the concentration camps. And this person, he said, they called him, they couldn't say his name because it was a Polish name, so they called him Wild Bill Hickok, I think, because he had a big handlebar mustache. And he said he had the most bright, shiny eyes, totally erect posture, unbounded energy. So they were clear that he must have come to the camp relatively recently. It hadn't beaten him down yet. And yet, as they got to know him, they learned that he had actually been in the camp since 1939. So he'd been in this concentration camp for 6 years, and yet had unbounded energy, bright, shiny eyes. Totally standing straight. They said everyone he touched, everyone loved him. The different groups sometimes would have battles with each other as they were working with them. They all loved him. Everybody loved him. So what was his story? He was a lawyer in Poland, Jewish. His family, when the Nazis came into Poland, they brought his family out into the street, his wife and his 5 kids, put him up against the wall and shot him in front of him. He didn't create that reality. He didn't create the Nazis coming into Poland. He said first of all, he begged that they would shoot him too so he could die with his family, but they wouldn't do that because they recognized he was going to be of some use to them. And he said in that moment, he made a decision that being a lawyer, he had seen criminal acts be made so much worse with all the hate that accompanied it, the aftermath of people living in hate, how much it deteriorated their body and their mind. And he realized it was that same hate that had just brutally killed his family. So he decided to do the opposite. He made the unwavering choice that he was going to love everyone as much as he possibly could with whom he came in contact. Every person with whom he came in contact, he was going to love. It didn't change his circumstances. He still went to the concentration camps. He spent 6 years. He saw probably unfathomable suffering and pain. But he continued to love. His decision, which is the same decision of blessing all the time, the decision, no matter what the situation, no matter what the circumstance, I am going to love, and I'm going to love. And what happened is it changed him. He became a place of heaven on earth. In the midst of hell, he was heaven on earth. And we know when you're around someone like that, I'm sure he was blessing every person with whom he come in contact with that love. In the midst of horrifying circumstances, he became what so many of us even today are longing to be. Maybe changing our personalities or our habit patterns are really, really hard. But being love is a simple choice every moment of every day. We can choose to bless our situation, our circumstance, people, situations, animals, plants, government, bless, and bless some more, and bless yet again, and yet bless again, and we become the universal blessing ourselves. We become the truth of who and what we are, pure, unconditional, unlimited love. No one, no person, and no situation, and no circumstance can ever keep us from being who we really are. So when we ask the question, is the universe friendly from this state, it's not based on what we're seeing out there, it's what we're hearing inside of us, what we're experiencing within us. Is my universe friendly? Would you want to hang out in your own interior universe? Remember, Reverend Joan used to say, is someone safe in my mind? Are you safe in my inner world? Or are you not safe in my inner world? We are that universe. Is the universe within me a friendly universe? What do you think? See, that's why I love being here. So we have an opportunity. The invitation is the same as last week. Bless everyone, all of the time, every day, individually. He talks about blessing individually is more powerful than collectively. So single people out, bless them, and bless them, and bless them. Politically, there's a lot going on. We're all being affected by what's happening in the country. Stay in the blessing. Stay in the blessing. Because if we're going for the reward, we're looking for an outcome, and we may or may not get that outcome immediately 5 years from now. We don't know. But we do know that pure unconditional love. Oh, I have to thank you. I'm so glad I was saying thank you to myself. Thank you, inner universe. It reminds me of one more point, because it's really important. The golden rule. When we bless, if we're doing it because I hear some people say, oh, their karma will get them. That's not really a blessing. That's a curse. But he also makes the really, really important point is if we're going to learn something, we talk about we're learning lessons all the time. So when things are difficult, when we're learning lessons, he said, but if we want to learn a lesson, do we want to learn it through love or do we want to learn it through suffering? And if the golden rule is do unto others as you would have them do unto you, if we want to learn our lessons through love, don't we want to other people to learn their lessons through love. And so he was talking about people that we see as our enemies. We might feel like it'd be kind of good to let them suffer or squirm a little bit, but we don't want to suffer and squirm. Golden rule, there's only one love. We are them and they are us. There's no separation. We want them to learn in love. So we bless them because as he points out, when anyone feels defensive, we don't learn, we get defensive. And we don't actually learn very well. But when we learn in love, we're open, we're receptive, our hearts are open, we don't feel judged. So this whole golden rule. So as we're blessing everybody, blessing those people who, we can say political figures, but also I know there's people in our families, in our work life, in our community. There's different people that just make our heart, I won't say enemy because I said that to Julian. I said, just remember to bless your enemies. And he said, I don't have any enemies, Mom. So, but he did get this. I said, are there times when your heart sort of constricts around somebody, where you just sort of feel like you need to protect yourself? He goes, oh yeah, that I feel. And I said, well, that's when you get to bless. Anytime you feel your heart constricting a little, or you just going like this a little, bless. Bless. Because love is everywhere. And it reminds us because we become the blessing. Are you with me on this? Yes. Are we feeling it? Yes. I love it. I love all of you. All right, so let's pray, and I'd like to get our practitioners, Lighthouse practitioners or CSL practitioners, to please stand and join me in the prayer that they made this commitment to be these vortexes of unlimited, and I know all of you have, but I just want to, today we're having our practitioner meeting, so invite our practitioners to stand and join me as we all pray. And prayer is just a long blessing. And I love our prayer because our prayer anchors ourselves in the foundational universal truth. That there is only one power, not two powers. We're not fighting anything. There's no other. There's only one power, and it is always loving. It is always loving. It doesn't stop somewhere else and become something other than love. It is always loving, and that love is specific. That's the miracle. This love that is so vast, that includes all time and space and is beyond all time and space, is particular as each and every one of us. It is specifically responding to each of us in our own perfect way, that law of harmony, gracing each of us on our own journey to become pure, unconditional love, to be who we really are. Everything in our universe, our relationships, our physical, emotional, and mental health, our financial situation, our work life, our community life, our life as citizens of this planet and of this country, of this city, every aspect of who and what we are is the law of harmony working in, through, and as us to remember, and to embody, and to become on every level and dimension of our being who we really are, this pure, unlimited, unconditional love that knows no limits. We walk on this earth as free beings, full of light, full of joy. We are grace. We are a blessing, and we are blessed. We are that pure universe here and now. And in this universe, we call forth into our awareness any aspect that feels uncomfortable to us. Whether it's a person, a situation, or circumstance, anything that makes us feel a little discomfort. And let's call that forth into our awareness right now, and we're going to silently take a moment to bless any situation, person that is making us uncomfortable, and we give it the same blessing that we began our service with, this talk with. Please, let's give us that blessing now. Give them this blessing now. How grateful I am for this unlimited blessing that just continues to pour forth from our heart, our body, our mind, and our soul, feeling and knowing the pure, unconditional love that we all already are right here in this moment. Knowing that these blessings are even now reverberating through the world and the planet. As within, so without. And the healing has happened. Heaven on earth is now, and we are it. In deep and abiding gratitude and everlasting peace, we release this word into the law of life, knowing that we are it, and it is us, and it is done. I invite us now to say together, and so it is. Amen and amen.
And so it is, and so it is, and so it is. Amen. So it is. Amen.
Amen and amen.